Hello and good evening, and welcome to Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over the world. And welcome back to the first edition this year of fan comments. Maybe actually one of my favorite segments that we do on the channel here. Sorry, I haven't done one for the last few weeks. I've been very, very busy, lots of work on my hands. Obviously, this is not my full-time job. And also, I've been just a little bit lazy in between that as well. But I do apologize to all the subscribers and those viewers who have made it through and passed through the channel over the last. It's going to be 1 year next month already. It's gone so quick. So remember when we started the channel, I was doing some videos out in Colombia, and the segment was where is David Ospina? You know, if you saw that, I'll probably leave the link just to look like a little refresher, reminder of my time out there in Colombia. But anyhow, so I'm gonna just go through some of the fan comments, and if you're watching this video and you are regular, make sure you get and join into the chat. If you've got any questions, I will answer the questions, as honest as I can. And I want to give a quick shout out to Papi Shampoo. So Papi Shampoo, all the way down out there in the States, he's one of the first guys who actually subscribed to the channel. So good to see you back in action again, Papi Shampoo. So hopefully we'll link up pretty soon over there in the States. Right. So these comments are going back all the way back to the game we played against Blackpool. And actually, I can really see some people have come into the chat here. Luca Carter, he's saying that Kroenke is killing the club. Well, we'll get into that just in a moment. Let me get through all the comments, and then we'll get into the Kroenke effect or the Kroenke situation. So we've got a comment here from TC. From I'm Gonna Talk, and he says that Willock put in a good performance, and it just seems like a long time ago, talking about the Blackpool game there when Willock scored 2 goals. Should have scored actually 4 goals, and unfortunately Eddie Nketiah missed maybe just probably 2 clear-cut chances there, and there is talk. It's probably a bit early days that Nketiah is not going to cut it at Arsenal. Listen, the guy is only, what, 18, 19? We do need to give him some time, maybe give him more chances, especially as we know that Welbeck is definitely out for the whole season, and it's very unlikely that Arsenal will, offer him a new contract. So let's make sure we look after him, we nurture him, and give him the time and the opportunities, because now that we know that Arsenal don't have any money to buy new players, we can only loan in players. Like I've probably said before on Easy Talk, the bite-sized version, that maybe it is time that we remind ourselves that we do have, a rich vein of youth players coming through now. So let's see what's going to happen about that. Right, and let's see. We have another comment here. Right, this is TC again, where he's saying, actually, he's responding to my initial comment where I said, TC, with almost all transfer news of players coming to Arsenal, I don't believe it until I see the player wearing and holding up the jersey of Arsenal. So I'm talking about where Dennis Suarez, this talk about Dennis Suarez coming in. Now it's debatable. Do we need another midfielder? Should we be spending money on another midfielder? For me, I haven't seen too much of Dennis Suarez play for Barcelona. I have to be honest, and if I do see anything, it would be mainly maybe new YouTube clips. So hand on heart, I haven't seen too much of him, but from what I see, he's a midfield player. So it would be, I think, a straight swap for Aaron Ramsey, who, by truth be told, he's going to Juventus. So yeah, so then TC is responding. He said, "Believe me, I feel the same. I want to see us unveil an unveiling video." Yeah, again, I'm not sure when that's going to happen. Anytime soon. And then I've gone back to TC. I said, "Yes, TC, welcome back. Guna YouTube ain't the same without I am gonna talk." So again, if you're not familiar with I'm Gonna Talk, TC is the main guy over there I'll probably might leave the link below. And then we go into, I think, let's have a look. Some guys just saying the bite size that we did a couple of days ago was really good. Then one from the English Conversation Club, he says, yeah, it was a short but good show. Yeah, I do like to keep the videos quite short. Sometimes I do go beyond and above the 35 minute limit I do set on there. And then I've got one from Mube Guna, where he's saying, happy birthday, Alex. Yeah, because it was my birthday just over a week ago. A good show as usual, boys. Right, so before I continue on the comments, let's get into the chat. So yeah, Luca Kota says, Kroenke is killing the club. How's things? Arsenal, we won't beat Chelsea on Saturday. Chelsea will win 2-1. Listen, ye of little faith. Come on, you've got to be positive. Even through the bad times, you have to think positive. I know we have to be, realistic with the situation that we heard last week that Arsenal don't have any money, to buy any players. And like I said before, my jaw dropped because I was thinking, almost like 14 years ago, we were told that we're going to be moving to the new stadium, which was the Emirates. Excuse me. And for that reason, we're going to be competing with the bigger clubs in Europe. And I feel so very let down because I'm thinking we've been in the Emirates for 14 years and we're nowhere nearer competing, with the bigger clubs in Europe, much less in the Premiership. And are we going to challenge for, the Premiership this season? But it's not going to happen too soon. So as much as I'm frustrated, I understand your frustration with Kroenke. We have to give the new manager, some time. So anyway, so Lucas says Kroenke is killing the club. Serious, he is. We have signed players like El Neni. He gets, for example, 4 or 5 grand a week. Well, he gets a lot more than that. He never plays. Shaka as well, Mustafi as well, together 70 million. Combined fees, say, for example, we pay 75 to 80,000 pounds a week. Well, so I'm going to throw the question back to you guys, whoever's watching. 3, but I'm grateful for the 3. Which players would you like to see Arsenal really get rid of so we can make some money? Because if you saw the Easy Talk Bite Size with James, my brother Ralph, and TC from I'm Gonna Talk, what TC was actually saying to me was to balance the books and for us to kind of beat the FFP, we'd have to sell players. So the question to you guys is, which players would you like us to get rid of? That goes out to everyone who's watching now on Canon for the TV. Right, so let's get back into the comments. There's just a few more, not too many to be honest. Right, now we're getting into the game against West Ham just a few days ago, which was absolutely, just heartbreaking. And we've got one here from Richard from Arsenal TV, and Richard says, absolutely disgusting performance today. As fans, we need to stop buying merchandise, food and drink at the Emirates if we want to get Stan Kroenke out of our club or even boycott matches. The argument is that for every 30 or 40,000 or maybe 50,000 people who boycott the stadium, there's going to be a bucket load or a coach load of other people wanting to take our places. I'm all for fan, power, because you can't have one owner literally just dominating everything like as if it was a dictatorship. If you come into the club, you've bought the club, invest money into the club. And as far as I was made aware, the FFP came into force in 2014. So what have we been doing up until 2014? We knew this was going to come into effect. So why didn't we do our check and balances before then and bring in quality players? That's one thing. A lot of people do say that Kroenke hasn't, spent any money. Well, again, the argument is, so we spent money on Aubameyang and Lacazette. Now, some of you are going to say, well, we spent 35 million on Mustafi. I think it was 30 million on Xhaka. What about Torreira? So the money has been coming in, but the problem is we need to improve the whole squad. But unfortunately, even if Kroenke was to give us the money, we can't spend the money under the FFP rules. We've already reached the limit. Okay, so we have another comment here, which is considerable. Add that to 4 or 5 years contract, paying them week in and week out with fees and wages, and that adds £100 million, and you can use that money on £67 million on a centre back. Yeah, I mean, if you look at our defense, do we have a defense? Do we have a defense? For me, my star defender has been Socrates. I think he's been quite solid. What he's lacking is somebody he can trust beside him, or maybe if it's the back three or the back four. For me, the defense is our weakest point, and it does need to be improved. Mavropanos, I would love Mavropanos to come in. He was looking quite promising last season until he had the injury, a long-term injury. But from what I understand, he's now back in training. So I hope to see, Mavropanos, back in there, paired with Socrates. I would like to see Monreal, even though it's coming towards the end of his career. Right back, Bellerin. We know he's had a relatively okay season so far. He could do a lot better, But God damn me, the whole squad needs to be improved. Okay, so let's get back into the chat. Right, there's more comments here from Richard. And Richard saying, I agree. I can't remember what I said to Richard, but he says, I agree. Even when Ramsey goes, I want Emery to play Smith Rowe because I think he's done enough to get that starting position. Over the past week, I've looked back on some of Ozil's performances. Just quickly see what it says here. Sorry. And I can honestly say now, I think he needs to go as well as because Emery doesn't seem to believe in him now. But yeah, listen, I'm not going to get into the whole Ozil situation. If you see my uploads and the videos, you know where I stand with Ozil. So I'm not going to get into that. And then Luca, who's in the chat now, it's a fantastic video. Fans won't boycott. Why do you think fans won't boycott? Fans should boycott. We've got a voice. Without fans, there could be no Arsenal. And then we've got some comments here from Apollo from 101 on Arsenal. And he says, yeah, because I said to him that if you look at the match against West Ham, we didn't have a leader. Who was the captain? Someone who could say to the players, come on, guys, we're not defending well, let's communicate. We don't have a natural leader. There is no leader in the squads. I would probably choose Monreal, but if you're going to choose a captain, it has to be someone who's playing consistently, and he's been out a couple of times injured. I wouldn't have Koscielny as the captain. He's not a leader. He's not a good communicator, and he's not the same player. Maybe for the last 2 or 3 seasons, he's not the same player that we've had. So for me, that was one of the reasons as well that we played so terribly, as well as maybe Emery just tinkering too much with the formation. The players maybe were affected by the news, knowing that we can't bring in new players. There was a whole multitude of reasons, and at the end, we've got the performance, and what we got from the performance was nothing, and we deserved nothing from the game, and we got what we deserved was a defeat. Okay, so what Apollo is saying here, when I said to him the main reason was, well, we didn't have a captain. He says, I agree. Captain is one of the many things that need to be sorted out. It's going to take time. There are deeper problems with this team. that need fixing. Kind of happy that Ozil isn't in the lineup, so people can't blame him for the performance. Again, I'm not going to get into that. All right, and hi guys, it's Paul Smith. Paul, what's happening? What's happening? Long time, man. Long time. And then, yep. Then Apollo again. He goes on to say, we have big problems in the squad, but why alienate your most valuable player in Özil? It's proving nothing at the moment, and Emery must be calling the shots. What's funny is people say that Özil, just give me a second, that Özil doesn't turn up in big games, but has turned up in games like this against the middle and lower teams. So now I think what Apollo's trying to say, that he might not turn up for the big matches, but he turns up against the middle and lower teams. Apollo, we didn't buy Özil to turn up and perform against the lower teams. We pay him that money so he can turn up and make the difference in the big games. Not when he's getting bullied off the ball, he's losing possession, not tracking back. Oh yeah, not tracking back. That is one of Unai Emery's traits with his teams, that he demands all the players, from the attackers, the midfielders, and defenders, trap back, try and get the ball back from the opposing team. And as much as a lot of people love Özil, he just doesn't fit in Unai Emery's plan, and that's just the bottom line. We're not paying him £350,000 a week to perform against the middle and lower teams. Again, that's just my opinion. Right, let's get back into the chat, and we've got Kroenke gave CEO those free roam of club, and as CEO, you run the club. That's what they're supposed to do, run the business. And also Stan sent his son over to check how the club went, and that in outs of, I don't understand, that in outs of club. Okay, the in and outs of the club. And I got Paul Smith saying, I'm sick of it. In a few years, we will be out of the top 6 if we don't watch it. Yeah, I'm a little bit fearful of that as well. If we don't watch ourselves, we're going to be a bog standard, mid-table team. And I don't want that for Arsenal. I've been supporting Arsenal for too many years. I remember all the barren years there. So let's try and again get behind the team, get behind the manager, and let's stop this division, amongst ourselves, fighting. I've seen so much foolishness there, excuse me, on Twitter. We've got some more. How do we get Arsenal challenging? Do we need to sell Kroenke out? Is there any other way instead of boycotting, or is boycotting the only way? Because if people boycott, he will stay. Yeah, I agree, he will. And the other thing as well, I just saw another YouTube. I'm not going to mention their name. They were saying that maybe if someone offered him maybe 5, 6, or 7 billion for Arsenal, then maybe he would take the money and run. But didn't Usmanov offer him a whole load of money and he didn't take it then? So I don't know. I really don't know. The only things I know, literally, as a fan base, we're not happy. And I think Unai Emery as well probably isn't happy that he's come into the job in less than a year, only to be told, well, actually, Emery, we can't give you any money. If you want new players, you have to loan in players. He's probably thinking, what? What the? Nah. But let's try, we need to keep hold of Emery as well, because he is a good coach. But I just like to know, I'd like to be a fly on the wall and know, well, what is he thinking about the situation at Arsenal? What is he thinking? Okay, and then we have some more comments in the chat. Paul Smith, I heard Kroenke got a loan of Arsenal to buy the rest off the club, and he said it will not affect us in the transfer market. Yeah, right. Kroenke paid the CEO and brought all sponsorships in, and Wenger, Gazidis were allowed to get away with what they wanted. Yeah, ever since Gazidis left, he said about Ramsey, "Nope, you're getting money. This is why we are on this." Yeah, yeah. It's just been a domino effect. What they've done a few years ago is affecting us now. Bad mismanagement. Not always a misappropriation of the funds, but it's just down to bad management. But you know what? It is what it is. And as much as I hate the situation, for me, I don't know what to do. How can we change the things at Arsenal? Okay, and then we go back into the comments, and I've got one from again TC. I'm gonna talk, and I've just said to him that TC, no one can truly know what's going on unless you're Urs and Emery, and I'm just talking about the the situation between player and manager. There seems to be like a something. It's not right. It's not right, and I put it down to maybe Emery's experience he had in PSG, where you had the likes of Neymar, a Cavani there, and he doesn't want lightning to strike twice. He wants to make sure the players know, or the player knows, that there can be only one person in charge, and that is the coach or the manager. Personally, I think maybe Emery wants to be rid of Ozil sooner rather than later. Okay, and then we've got Ryan. Good evening, Ryan. And Ryan says, I think Steve Ball's might have to go in the summer. If he isn't doing anything positive on the training pitch, that transfers onto the pitch is why he's there when he's paid a good wage. Yeah, but Ryan, I like I've just been saying, I think all our problems have extended maybe 4 or 5 seasons back, where the Gazidis and Wenger, they just did a terrible job there, finding players that were overpriced and selling them for next to nothing. You can do that, but make sure you buy quality players. Mustafi, 35 million? Nah, not having it. Not having it. Oh, Steve Bold. Yeah, I think Steve Boiling. Steve Boyles. Can we beat Chelsea Saturday night? For me, no. What's your prediction, and why don't we have Tony Adams as defensive coach or Martin Keown? That's a good question, because I think didn't Tony Adams say that he tried to offer his services a few times, and Arsene Wenger wasn't happening. And you would notice as well that under Arsene Wenger, there weren't any or any invincibles there in the coaching staff. And who wouldn't want some of the invincibles behind the scenes? But Arsene Wenger, he was single-minded, and he didn't want any of them. So I think that's the reason why Tony Adams hasn't been there. But that's a good shout. Why don't we have Tony Adams as a defensive coach? Because Steve Bold, for me, I'm not sure what he's doing there, but he's getting paid quite well for me doing next to nothing. Okay, and can we beat Chelsea? Of course we can. Of course we can. The only problem is when we played against them, the second game in the season there, we had chances, but we just didn't put the chances away. The only way you can win a game is if you put the ball in the goal. And people have been saying that with Aubameyang, he needs 3, 4, maybe 5 chances before he can score 1 goal. And I've always said, probably people might hate on me, I don't think you can start Aubameyang and Lacazette the same game. One has to play. We don't have that formation. Again, look what happened against West Ham. We played both of them, and both of them, it wasn't a good game. So I'd rather have Lacazette start and bring on Aubameyang just to change things up. But that's just my opinion. So yeah, to your question, can we beat Chelsea? Of course we can beat Chelsea. Of course we can. You know, now's the time to rise up. Our backs are against the wall. I think we've lost 5 now away goal games out of 2. So of course. Right. So Paul saying let Ramsey, Sanchez, the Ox. It's a joke. All top players. Yeah, yeah. You know, as much as I hate Sanchez, the way he left Arsenal with Sanchez, you know, he was the spark who would make things happen. You know, and it's not happening at Man U. So yeah, I would love Sanchez and Ox back, but that's not going to happen. Let them go, and we're a big club. We are not anymore. We're a laughable stock. I do agree with you, mate. I'm just saying, having someone on the back room staff so close to the old regime has got uh, has got to mean trouble down the line. And yeah, Wenger did block Adams, Seaman, Dixon, etc. Yeah, yeah. So I'm not quite sure what you mean, Ryan. Do you mean that you would like or you wouldn't like to see the old players behind the scenes? I'm not sure what you mean by that. And Lucas saying play Lacazette. Yeah, yeah. Paul Smith, Sanchez over Ozil all day. Oh, Paul. Oh, dearie me. Actually, I'll put that question in the chat and I'll put it down to 3 players. Guys, which players would you prefer to keep out of the 3? You can only choose one. Sanchez, Ozil, or Ramsey. Which one player would you keep or would you have back or out of those 3 players? So it'll be Sanchez, Ozil, or Ramsey. Right, let's see if there are any other comments here. Uh, right, so we're up to date now with the fan comments on Canon Fodder TV. But again, you know, whoever's watching, just passing by, and you like what you see, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification button. And also, you can sign up for our Patreon page. I think I've left the link in the box. You know, if you want to make a contribution, help the channel grow, help us buy you know, new equipment. You get behind the scenes footage, and you'll also see behind the scenes footage of when I went and did the excuse me, the Legends tour with Charlie George. So we've got all the footage there. Me and my brother talking to Charlie George and other bits and pieces. So if you're interested, sign up for the Patreon page. I will leave the link below as well as our website. Right, so we're up to date on the comments here. Let's get back into the chat. Right, so Lucas saying Sat Leno, Bellerin, Socrates, Mustafi, Monreal, Kolasinac, Torreira, Ramsey, Ozil, Iwobi. So is that your team for the match against Chelsea? I'm not sure what you're saying there. I would like the ex-players behind the scenes. Right, okay. Yeah, so would I, Ryan. Yeah, yeah. Steve Bold. Steve Bold. No, no. Sanchez, but hate him now. All right, Paul. You know what? Yeah, I concur. I hate him too, but I would have him back out of the 3. Ramsey going anyway. You should change that because Ramsey already leaving. Okay, Ryan Sanchez from before he went on his little breakdown. Little breakdown. Yeah. Dear Ryan, why would you have Sanchez back? Why would you have Sanchez back? Paul Smith says Ramsey will do well at Juve and should win loads. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think he will do quite well there. I know people saying, "Oh, he's just a squad player. You know, he won't do much," but I think he will do quite well. I mean, crikey, he's going to be playing with Ronaldo over there. All right, Lucas saying yes, my team for Saturday. And Brian saying, but if Adam, Seaman, and other ex-players still want to provide their services, snap their hands off. Imagine Adams getting into players' faces every day on match days. Yeah, I can imagine that. I can imagine that. And that's what we need. Because, Ryan, we don't have that. We don't have that on the pitch. There is no captain. There is no captain. I know, Koscielny is the club captain, but on the pitch, he's not a leader of men. He's not a leader of men. And having like this situation where you've got like 5 captains, for me, it doesn't work. Only one voice can work, man. And that's what that was missing, the game against West Ham. And then we've got Beckham 7. Hey, Beckham, what's happening? He says, why Arsenal cannot buy players permanently? We are a big club. Excuse me. What's going on? Like I said before, if you saw the beginning of the upload, it's a situation about mismanagement of the funds. We knew that the FFP came into force 2014, so we should have prepared ourselves. But unfortunately, you had a manager who was single-minded. We had Gazidis, who really, in the end, didn't know what he was doing. Buying in players, way and above their real worth, and then having to sell these players with literally no real value. So that's why we are in this situation now. And like I said before, if we do boycott the stadium, if we don't buy the merchandise, there's going to be maybe 60, 70,000 more people ready to take our place. Not that I go to the stadium frequently, but that's the situation where we're in. If we could get back the Sanchez that was happy at Arsenal, then on his day, everything positive would go through him. Oh yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt, yeah. But I don't think we could if we had Sanchez, could we play Lacazette and Aubameyang in the same team? I'm not sure that would work. I'll probably play Lacazette and Sanchez, but Lacazette, Aubameyang, and Sanchez, I'm not sure that combination would work there. But and Paul says no one sticks to the FFP, so why should we? Yeah, you know what, Paul? I was thinking the same thing. I know there's talk about Man City, literally breaking the FFP rules there, and they haven't been pulled up or hauled up yet. So, yeah, if they don't stick to it, why should we? But it's a weird one. We could have had Kante for 30 million, but spent. Yeah, yeah. It's funny. Yeah, Wenger was quite candid about that. Oh yeah, I could have bought Kante, but I bought Xhaka instead. I don't know. It's just a weird one. Yeah. So Ryan is just saying here, Man City don't or Chelsea, um, and they're in lots of debt. Yeah, they are in lots of debt. But yeah, that's the situation at Arsenal. The situation at Arsenal, and there's not much. I don't know what you guys think. What can we do? Realistically, what can we do to get Kroenke out? I'm not, I'm not starting up a campaign to get Kroenke out. But yeah, by all means, you can discuss it, amongst yourselves. So yeah, so we have the match on Saturday against Chelsea, and I am positive that we will. Now, come on, things can't get any worse than they are. Good luck, AC Milan, with even Casinos. Oh dear. Right, guys. So unless you have anything else you want to talk about, I'm going to wrap up this segment of fan comments. All things Arsenal, Cannon Fodder TV. Let's see here. Yeah, so I think we all agree that we would prefer to have Sanchez back. Yeah. Okay, I think that's going to be it. That's going to be it. But listen, guys, thanks for coming in. So late. I don't usually do fan comments this late, but it seems that a lot of you, have come into the chat, and I'm so very grateful. And even had Beckham7 as well come into the chat as well. But anyhow, unless somebody is going to come in with some more last-minute comments, let's see. I don't think Arsenal will sell Özil, though. because of Adidas kit deal in June. Buy and brilliant. Going to watch City now on Sky. Watch them smash Wolves. Yes, me too, Paul. Me too. Lucas, really, have you ever chat on AFTV? Listen, I stopped watching AFTV. You know, they have their philosophy and a way of doing things, and we have our way of doing things, and we're so very different from Arsenal Fan TV. Um, Again, like I've always said, the original idea for Cannon Fodder, actually, we were called Arsenal Republic TV early in the day, and we changed the name, but now we're called Cannon Fodder TV. And the idea was that we were going to do like a Latin American channel for fans in Central and South America. But as things have gone on, the fan base or the people who have subscribed are the majority are based here in England or English speakers. So we do have another channel where we do sometimes talk in Spanish. Yeah, I do speak a bit of Spanish. So yeah, we might get that one up and running again and just see where it takes us. But anyhow, guys, listen, thanks for coming into the chat. Thanks for giving me your little time, my little rant about Arsenal, because I love Arsenal. I've been supporting them for more than 40 years. But anyhow, this has been Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans